Hi, hello there. Welcome back to the City Business, and we are still joined by the U.S. Ambassador to ASEAN, Yohannes Abraham, to talk about digital economic collaboration between the U.S. and ASEAN. So, Ambassador, we've been talking about the opportunity and challenges in every ASEAN countries related to our acceleration aims between United States and ASEAN countries in terms of digital economy. And in the real fact, on the ground, the topic of scamming and scammer is not just hot topics, but I think it's one of the main concerns, particularly in Southeast Asia region. How do you see that when you go to every country in ASEAN?
So first of all, let me say this is something that I hear quite frequently when I'm on the road, when I'm moving from country to country, and it's true across the full range and spectrum of ASEAN member states. Obviously, ASEAN member states have a range of development statuses, a range of governing systems, everything in between. But this is unfortunately a problem where there's a lot of commonality. And it's not limited to Southeast Asia. Scamming, I think, is a global concern. It's certainly something back home that we're conscious of and that we are committed to combating. And I think it is a great area for partnership. And the reason I say that is because it is a complex set of issues. There's a technical and a technological component to combating scamming. There's a law enforcement component to it. There is a financial forensics component to it, all of which are areas that countries are better off working together than working in silos on. So just to say, this is a real challenge. It is one that we hear frequently about, and it is one that I think is ripe for continued and enhanced partnership across borders, because that's how we're gonna tackle what is increasingly a global challenge.
Right, so what do you think, what is the closest step that we need to take together to tackle this issue?
Well, I think the only way to answer that accurately, I think, is to appreciate that there's probably many steps that have to be taken in partnership with each other, because the challenge is very multifaceted.
Yes.
So I can't give you one prescription and say, we do this, but I think the way I would look at it is, we've got a range of different factors that are unfortunately driving this criminal behavior. Let's look at them, analyze them, and see where we can work together to address each of them.
Right, so my next question is about AI and also digital infrastructure, particularly about subsea cable. So topic of AI, we have had our CEO of Apple came here, and also CEO of Microsoft, and it's part of the development of human resources, particularly here in Indonesia and also in Southeast Asian countries, to boost the human resource related to the AI. So what do you think about this in terms also the ASEAN and US collaboration in terms of digital economy?
So artificial intelligence, I think, is an area that's ripe for collaboration between ASEAN and the United States. In fact, as I'm sure you know, on March 22nd, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution, a US-led resolution, that was basically focused on articulating a set of principles around seizing the opportunities of AI and doing so in a responsible way. And the resolution had over 123 co-sponsors from around the world. 7 of those co-sponsors were ASEAN member states. And I say that to say that there is a global, it was a historic resolution, because it was the first time that the global community had spoken about some of the key principles that we believe should govern the future of artificial intelligence. And it also was an illustration of the fact that this is on the top of mind for countries and people around the world. And that's why I say it is a really ripe area of cooperation between ASEAN and the United States. ASEAN, as you know, has unveiled and in January of this year released its own set of guidelines for the responsible use of AI. And as a dialogue partner and as a friend to ASEAN, we are eager to leverage both our private sector and our public sector experts and specialists to work with and through ASEAN in the implementation of its own guidelines and on charting a path forward from how we go from these critical principles and guidelines to a set of understandings about the future of artificial intelligence that help us achieve things we all want to do. For example, one of the areas of cooperation in ASEAN's outlook on the Indo-Pacific, which is also one of the areas of cooperation for the US and ASEAN, is the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. You know, if you look at health security, you look at the climate crisis, there are really interesting applications of artificial intelligence that can make a meaningful difference in our work together on these shared challenges.
Yep.
So we're committed to finding those opportunities, and we're also committed to making sure that we have the right frameworks in place so that way we're doing so responsibly.
Right. So talking about this topic is one of the example of how private-public partnership is happening from the private sector from the United States come to ASEAN countries and being supervised by the US government and also the ASEAN countries government. So talking about for the future initiative related to this, including maybe the project of subsea cables, for example, what will be the future initiative the US is seeking with ASEAN in regard to the digital economy?
So I'll say a couple things. One, I appreciate you mentioning the role of the private sector, because as the #1 source of foreign direct investment across Southeast Asia, US companies are not only deploying those investments, but they're doing so while also at the same time investing in the workforces and the communities where their capital investments are hitting. And you mentioned a couple of the visiting companies that have been in town recently, been in the region recently. You'll notice that workforce development is a consistent, and upskilling is a consistent theme that you hear from US companies as they make investments or as they augment existing investments, or just as a part of how they've done business for years. We're not just the #1 source of foreign direct investment today, that's been the case for many years.
Yeah.
And as that investment has happened, it's happened the right way. It's happened with an eye towards the communities and the workers that those companies are interfacing with. And as it relates to those companies in the digital economy and the future of that work, it's not just the big tech players, because obviously when we think of the digital economy, we think of the big tech companies, which are, you know, critical providers of some of the necessary tools and systems that enable the digital economy. But increasingly, all companies are digitally connected and are a part of the digital economy, and that's true for US companies as well. So I anticipate, to your question about the future, I anticipate continued and strengthened engagement, both from the US private sector, also from the US government, both bilaterally and then from my office vis-a-vis ASEAN. And to your question about digital infrastructure, I'd just say, as we look to harness the future of the digital economy, it's important that we're building our systems, our companies on infrastructure that is safe, that is trustworthy, that's reliable, that's interoperable. And it's just, that's logical. It's the same way if you were building a house, you'd want to build it on a good foundation. The same thing is true for building the building blocks of the digital economy.
Ambassador Abraham, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we don't have much time right now. Hopefully, you will come here again to discuss more about the topics, because talking about digital economy is like a series of topics that we need to talk more about this.
Thank you for having me again. I'd love to come back. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk about work that we're really excited about.
Yes, thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
So that's it for today's edition of CToday Business. So you can always get the latest update on all of our stories at ctoday.com for free. So make sure you also follow us on our social media accounts, and we are available on Instagram, x.com, and YouTube at CToday News. So this has been your daily CToday Business Update. And make sure you check back tomorrow for the latest business news. My name is Yohannes, signing off with See Indonesia, See the World, See Today.